kind of working notes back and forth with the agreement. Also, the notes from Mr. McDonald in our emails. Basically, where it is they have said this is what they want to do, and they're kind of stuck on that position. We have some concerns in Section 6A, and I think we're talking about the same thing. I think they're interpreting our proposed language, and maybe we're interpreting their proposed language, so there might be a magic pronoun or something to put in there that meshes it together. What we want to make sure of is it appears that some of the language is that we're going to pay for pretty much everything, and even if they mess it up really bad, it's still on us, and that's not how we want it to be. If we expect you to maintain the building and pay for anything that you do to it, and I think we're close, and I think they think that's what it says, and we're not sure that it does. But other than that, the substance of the agreement is more of a standard lease, where they are basically paying $7,000 a month or $84,000 a year for a 10-year lease. So $840,000 with 2 renewals. So it's a value of $840,000 times 3, whatever that would be, 2.4-ish. And the payments would basically offset the amount of maintaining the building. As it is now, they had the debt service payment. So this would be kind of an extension, but based more on what the cost of maintaining the space. We'll still cut the grass and things like that, and if there's major capital expenditures, such as we did with the roof, etc., we build that in and we take care of that. But anything interior that they're going to do modifications to, there was some language in there about security cameras, etc., that we want to make sure, look, if you're going to do upgrades to that, the operation of the court, it's a shell of a building, you do that. So we worked through all of that, and shy of our concerns in 6A, which I'm sure that we will make sure that the language is within the comfort level of both sides. Like I said, in our dialogue, I think we're talking about the same thing. It's just the language. We interpret theirs as saying one thing, and they interpret ours as saying the other, and I think it's just a mix of words, but we're right there. So just wanted to provide that to make sure that you saw all of the working notes and the timelines, and once we remove the comments and lock in the language in 6A, which I will get a hold of Mr. Small tomorrow and make sure that we are good on the exact language and review it with Jerry. And although even if it stayed the same, we're not really pleased with the position it puts us in, but it's something that we could live with. But we are certainly going to work hard and advocate and make sure that the county recognizes and appreciates the opportunities for the value of the space that they have.
Where did
want to extend to our citizens the cost of their operation?
So how did we arrive at the $7,000 a month or $84,000 number? Did we look at a time frame?
Taking a time frame of the operational costs to maintain, and then just kind of building in an escalator to that, just a slight one. And there is an escalator built in, I believe. Is it 2%? Based on whether it be CPI.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Yes, Mr. Otto?
The only thing that really stood out to me in the back and forth with the county was, again, the same thing there, the $7,000 a month. What was the prior for comparison? Because that seemed to be a kind of a sticking point that amount has increased, and I'm just curious, how major was that? Or
actually, they came up with that number, and we looked at it, and we were happy with it. So,
okay, fair enough.
That was their number based on what they had paid. So they kind of did the footwork on that, and we appreciate that. Okay. And we compared it to. They were actually in an escrow situation where they were paying ahead of what we would have had to charge off in the previous few months. So keeping it at that level, I think, adequately covers, the cost of maintaining the building for their occupancy.
So the $7,000 was their proposed number.
It is.
And we feel that's reasonable. Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
If for some reason by Monday we don't have those details worked out, I think I saw in the email that from Tyler that they would be open to an extension through January to get that done. So just making sure our bases are covered.
Yeah, that was in here. He knows that meeting schedules and all that. Theirs is on the 17th that they would be able to approve. It was our goal, mine and Tyler's, to get it done by the end of the year. So we know that we can do another extension to what's going. It's not like we're going to padlock the doors or they're going to pack up and move. So but we want to get it done. We wanted to keep it. So we set that target goal of by the end of the year. So we feel that we're pretty close, and we'll have something Monday. I'm sure it'll be this. If not, it'll be a simple extension. But I'm sure we'll be ready for Monday. And I said they'll ratify it on the 17th. I think was the date for the commission meeting.
Okay. Questions or comments?
All right. So from what I remember, looking over the contract previously, I believe, don't quote me on it, but I believe that the price that the county is paying for the court building right now is around $11,000. And now it's going to go down to $7,000. So without looking at both contracts and comparing the two, I'm not going to make any comment on that. But just to let you know, that was a question that Mr. Otto asked, Representative at Large. And that's, from my memory, that's what I believe was in the contract before. So, if you have more questions on that, obviously contact your council members. Talk to them. Ask them, what's up with that? Or whatever question you have. So it sounds like it does appear that it's going to be on the agenda for tonight. So I'll be paying attention to that, and hopefully they'll be able to wrap up that contract soon and maintain that court building in the city of Heber Heights. Glad that is working out. I thought that was something important to play because I want to continue to update you on the things that we talk about here on the podcast and move forward. Something I do want to go back to is this year, the city of Heber Heights promoted someone within the city to the parks manager position. I believe they created that position and made it happen. His name is Josh King. He's a good person. And I believe, just from when he was promoted and coming back into town and all the events that he had worked hard on getting done, I think that the city of Heber Heights Parks are going to, you guys are going to see a great deal of progress in the parks. I have tremendous confidence just by seeing what I saw, especially throughout July, all the events they had planned and the new things. So with the parks in general, we're talking about when we were talking about the aquatic center, I think, we have questions on that. At least I do. And I think the former mayor did. And I'm sure other folks will as well on the aquatic center and how that relationship between the city and contractors work. In a whole perspective, I think the parks situation is going to get better because you have someone who is the manager of the parks who lives in the city, and I truly believe, having known him, served with him on the Charter Review Commission, I believe in his leadership to get that done and to make the parks and the recreation in the city of Heber Heights better. So I just wanted to go back to that for a second. So we talked about a few things from the work session. Hopefully you guys will get on board and start emailing your council members and going up to speak at council and discuss your issues with them. Of course, I see a lot of things being talked about on Facebook and not a lot of things being talked about out in the open at the meetings. Hopefully folks will get involved. Get involved and stay involved. That's what I always say. It's important because they have no choice but to listen, right, at those meetings. And hopefully if there's enough folks talking about certain issues that they have, that things do improve in certain areas. Because no, not everything is bad in the city of Heber Heights. There's a lot of good things happening. A lot of new development, a lot of things coming to the city that hasn't been around in the city for a while. Different restaurants and things, different businesses are popping up, so that's good. New housing stock, all the above. There's a lot of good things that are happening, but what I attempt to do on this podcast is to bring things to light that can be improved on. It's not just about complaining, it's about how can we better do this? How can the city better serve the citizens? That's what it's all about. That's why you pay taxes. In one of the highest tax bracket cities in Montgomery County, unfortunately. Hopefully, that is something that can be improved upon. So just for a second, I just want to say, pay attention. Get involved. Email your council members. Get to know them. They're there to serve you as well as the city staff. They get paid to serve the citizens of the city of Heber Heights. And I'm not saying they do a bad job. I don't. I just think that for a lot of folks who are paying the taxes, you may want to question where they're going on a direction. Maybe we don't always understand everything. Maybe it's not fully explained. Maybe, sometimes we got to say, oh, okay. Because there's been plenty of times where I've had questions and I thought something was not going in the right direction. And then as it is explained to me, then I realize, okay, maybe I was wrong on this. So it's all important to question, to understand, and to figure out where the city's going and what direction they are taking the city of Heber Heights. So there's that. All right, folks, I will leave it there. I will pay attention to the council meeting tonight. I will try to stop up there. I'm going to do my best to get up there to check it out. I haven't been in a while. I do watch every single one, but I like to be there in person sometimes to catch it live, if you know what I mean. Hopefully you guys get up there too, and I will talk to y'all later.
Thank you for listening to Truman's Town Hall. Share this podcast with your friends and neighbors and subscribe today.